Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Since 2003, we've been connecting buyers and sellers, providing access to sold-out events at prices lower than most secondary market options. Whether it's sports, theater, or concerts, our massive nationwide network ensures you get the tickets you want, guaranteed. For the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. That's TICKETLIQUIDATOR.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Silent Witness. We have Angela here.
Hello, everyone.
New co-host is joining us. Longtime friend of mine.
Very long time.
Very long time.
Ooh, working up in these streets.
We've been running the streets.
Criminal justice streets.
We've been committing crimes. Anyway,
I
Silent.
ain't made it to Guantanamo Bay yet. No.
Not yet. You're on your way, though.
Mm-hmm.
You're on your way. I think I talked about that in the last episode. I think that was part of our history.
Yes.
Anyway, this is Silent Witness. I'm Christina.
And I'm Angela.
Yep. And we are back for part 2 of From Spree to Sentence. Richard Tabler, talking about Richard, if you remember.
Yes.
But let's recap last week's episode.
Okay, go ahead.
Before Richard became infamous, and you'll see why, from his criminal crimes.
Okay. Yes.
He was just another troubled soul navigating the life filled with hardship, violence, desperation.
Abandonment and everything else.
Yeah. Part 1, we deep dived into, explored his early history, his influences that shaped him and the path he led toward darkness. He had a tumultuous upbringing.
Abandonment, betrayal.
Brushes with the, and that, listen, that is no excuse.
None whatsoever.
But
none.
Because we all had a terrible childhood and I didn't go kill folks.
Just how many atrocities people have lived with that don't commit crimes.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Very serious atrocities. And they don't go out and commit crimes or turn to crimes or hurt other people.
But we can kind of, and as we get going, you'll see that we're uncovering the warning signs that hinted to the horror that is to come.
Okay, because I was going to say, I'm not going to see anything about a person turning to crime because they had a hard life. So
No. But you could see the warning signs.
Okay.
We talked about them. Anyway, so last week we left off around the Thanksgiving week, right? We're going to back up. It was late November, so we're going to back up about a week or so.
Okay.
Richard Tabler was still selling drugs on the Fort Hood military base. He was also running between San Antonio and Killeen, buying drugs. He'd go to San Antonio, get him some little cocaine, come back on up.
And be able to get on a military base with no credentials. I'm
wait.
I'm floored.
I know.
Floored.
I know.
Okay.
Get this. Get what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
During one of these trips, Richard was actually pulled over in Belton. Okay.
I like me some Belton now.
And he was arrested because he had cocaine on him.
Okay.
So he describes that the next day he thought it was going to be a good idea because he of course went to jail, bonded out. He thought it'd be a good idea. I'm going to go talk to the DA. I'm going to try to work something out.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I was going to say, that's probation right there.
Well, not for him. He's already been in prison.
Okay. Well, they don't start him over.
And I guess they didn't run his NCIC because, he still got warrants because he's absconded parole and he's probably got other charges. Excuse me.
So what was going on that they didn't do all that? Because I think that's the first thing, NCI, TCI?
You would think, but
okay.
Listen, we all make mistakes. So he goes and talks to the DA. And this is according to Richard, and I did read this in some court documents as well.
Okay.
He was going to, and I'm air quoting, work off the charge. We know what that means.
Okay, go on.
In this field, that's what it's called, but it's basically working for the police, buying undercover, wired up, being an informant.
Yes.
I can't stand that. I cannot. They used to come to me and say, "Oh, can we have your probation?" No.
I had that happen to me once.
I've had it a lot. They used it a lot in one of the counties I worked in, and I would say no, because you're subjecting this drug addict to drugs, and they're going to violate their probation. No, I'm not giving permission for that.
Yes.
Bye.
And in the court conditions tell you that, you can't work for law enforcement, so you can't, without the approval or
But he went on
whatever.
probation, so he was going to work off this charge and make a buy. He became an informant, and he did complete, as far as I know, one buy for the police before Thanksgiving around this time. I did read this in several places during my research where he worked as an informant. It was kind of hard to find, honestly. He talks about it in his book, but I did read it in one of the appeals as well.
So then there you go.
Now,
So
Richard
if it happened
says,
once,
well,
come on.
I only read once. According to him, it was just once, and I'll tell you why, because something happens.
Okay.
But according to Richard, he was really just playing the cops. He was just playing, and we know he was.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on now. He's smarter than the cops.
Well, he said he got his training in gladiator school in prison. Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that. Okay. So let's jump, kind of pivot a little bit. We're going to go back to Amine. If we remember from last week's episode, Amine was the club manager of Teasers, our lovely Colleen strip club.
Yes, to drop it like a hot bunch.
Yeah, shake your booty on that pole.
Yes, ma'am.
Chicks get their money. Now,
them dollars.
Richard and him, they became acquaintances. Not, I wouldn't necessarily say friendly, but whatever. Right. They were okay.
Okay.
Richard met up with Amine to buy, and Amine was going to supposedly buy stolen stereo equipment and some cocaine. Now, strip clubs are notorious for cocaine.
They're a haven.
Dancers do, managers, bar, they all.
And the patrons and everything else.
Cocaine.
It's just a whole vibe for it.
Right.
Whole vibe for all kind of different illegal activities.
Yeah, and
yes.
Not just cocaine. There's some other drugs too.
And other stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put a whole lot of stuff, trafficking and everything else.
But all in all, Richard did continue to break the law. He hung out in the strip clubs. And according to him, he was just doing stupid shit. That's what his quote. I was doing stupid shit.
Yeah, stupid shit, breaking the law. That's what it is.
He was popular among the dancers. He slept with some, he banged them out.
If you got the right kind of drugs, of course you're popular.
Yeah. And he especially took a fancy to a girl named Amber Benfield, who was 16, and she was a runaway.
Wait. Back that up. She was 16 working in the club? See?
Fake ID.
Oh. Okay.
And again, this probably was not the most upscale gentleman's club.
Right.
But her dancer name was Zoe. And for those listeners that don't know, dancers often use stage names.
Right.
Like Star or Tiffany or
Destiny or Diamond.
Diamond or
yes.
Yeah, whatever. According to my research, he became often creepy with some of the dancers. But it's also creepy. He kind of fancied a 16-year-old, and he was around 25.
And I really don't care what kind of fake ID you're using. A 16-year-old, when you're talking to a 16-year-old, you're going to know. It's some kind of clue that's going to let you know that's a 16-year-old. Come on now. Nope.
Listen,
Nope.
I'm sure he did know.
Yeah.
But, so again, we're before Thanksgiving in 2004. Amine had banned Richard from the club for harassing the dancers and being creepy. And, he'd finally had enough, so you ain't going back, and I had heard that, or I had read that not only on his version of what happened that he banned, but he says he doesn't know why. But according to all the appeals documents and court documents I read, he was banned for being creepy and a creepy dude, like
just a creepy facade.
Yeah. Again, Richard says he really didn't know why, and he kind of glossed over that.
Right.
But a lot of the other documents I read, and this could be theory from the police as well.
Right.
It may have also been because, according to Richard, Amine owed money to Richard for drugs and stolen stereo equipment. Who knows? The truth probably lies somewhere in both of those.
Right.
But this is when he began to plot his revenge. He got banned from his hangout place.
But
I'm gonna get revenge.
And some of these ladies that are working in there so intuitive, they can pick up on creepy guys and stuff like that. So they probably, if they were complaining, maybe they complained or something like that. But as females come, we can kind of pick up on a creepy guy like, and this guy is creepy.
And you got to be a true creep if you're going to get banned from a seedy nightclub.
Thank you,
stripper club. Come on,
but
now.
Yeah, he probably showed himself in front of those the ladies and stuff that were dancing there and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, this guy's creepy.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
But he using drugs, so that's probably bringing on anyway. I listen.
Right.
But
and he was damaged from childhood from falling out them daggum trees. Hell. So shit. How many times did he blew as a baby and can't breathe? Hell, he was creepy from the damn get-go. Shit. So what? He was a walking creep from the womb.
Now, of course, this isn't the story that Richard himself told in his book. It was a little bit different. And I'm going to go in telling this story. I have been going back and forth from what Richard's been saying in his book to court documents.
Okay.
And what other people who were witnesses also said.
Okay.
So it's, I'm going back and forth, and I'll make it clear.
So yeah, so when it's from the book, just say, hey, this is from his book,
his version,
yes, and
this
version is from the court. This is what witnesses say. Yeah, so we'll kind of know.
Yeah, but according to Richard, and again, when I say it's according to Richard and what he has said, this is going to be from his book. Yeah.
Okay.
Amine did promise to pay him what he owed him by the weekend, which I believe would be Thanksgiving weekend. It may have been the weekend before. It seems like it was the weekend before, because it seems at some point he says that weekend came and went. And then it's moving us back toward Thanksgiving.
Okay.
According to other reports, including testimony from Richard's friend, Tim, Amine also threatened, and this is what Richard says too, Amine threatened to kill Richard's family for $10. Now, this is what Richard said to people. And this is what Richard wrote in his book. We don't know if he really did do that. Richard says he got a call and that from one of the dancers at Teaser saying, oh yeah, Amine says he's going to kill your whole family for $10.
Now that don't even sound right. $10. Come on.
Sense. Who's gonna go kill a family for $10?
$10, right?
I mean, you at least got to pay me $12.
Thank you. Or and why if I don't like you that much and I say I'm gonna kill your family, then I'm gonna do it for free.
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna go hire somebody for $10.
I'm just gonna
They're gonna turn on you for $10. Come on now. You got to be a desperate person.
That part right there. So I don't know if I kind of
I don't know
with that.
This, and again, according to the testimony of a lot of the witnesses, this is what Richard said.
Yeah.
And according to his book.
Yeah, but people that are predators and stuff like that, they always blame the victim and everything like
100%.
They always got to make themselves, be victimized.
Right. So we're moving on to Thanksgiving Day. Richard decides to hang out with some friends, and they're going to party and drink, do some drugs. While at the friend's house, and his friend was named Kim. I want to say he was a girl that he was banging her. I'm not real sure. Her name is Kim. We're going to refer her to as Kim. He announced he had some things to, and I'm quoting, take care of.
Oh.
He asked Tim Payne. Remember, he's the Army friend that we talked about.
18-year-old.
He's about 19 now.
Okay, yeah.
And another military friend named Chris to come along.
Oh, okay.
According to Tim, and this is from Tim's police statement and appeals paperwork, and I will quote the exact thing he said here in a minute, but according to Tim, they drive to the club and they find Amine because he had some money he owed Richard for some stolen stereo equipment.
Right.
Amine wasn't there. They drove all over Colleen looking for Amine. Richard apparently asked both Tim and Chris if they were afraid to kill someone. Tim stated, I don't know. Yes, I could probably kill someone. And that's a quote. Chris replied that it isn't his top priority, but if I have to, I will.
Just gullible, just mindless, following along.
Well, Chris doesn't. A short time later, Chris asked to be dropped off.
Right.
Smart.
And you know what he should have done? Ran right to the police.
He ain't going to.
See? Accessory to deadgum crime here.
I mean, there's not really a crime just because I say, hey, can you kill somebody? That's not.
Yeah, well, it's how many times we got people that say, I want to kill what's the lady that was trying to set up the cop to kill somebody to kill her husband? Yeah, she said she was going to kill her husband. That's what? We do harassment, terroristic threat?
Yeah, but he didn't specifically name anybody. He just said, hey, could you kill somebody?
Yes, but who we looking for?
I could kill somebody.
We
No, I'm just
riding around
kidding.
looking for Amine. Ahmed.
Amine, yeah.
You kill somebody, but we driving around all over town looking for this one
Right,
man.
you're
Come
right.
on now.
You're
You got
right.
sense. You
You're
can
right.
put two and two together. He should have ran his butt to the police and say, hey, this man asked me, could I kill somebody? And we been looking for this man all day.
Easy Sun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with Easy Sun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
So they eventually, I think, either they go to his house and they run into his sister, Amin's house, and speak to his sister and basically say, "Hey, where is he? Have him call me." So they were leaving the house, and after they spoke to Amin's sister, and Amin called Richard, and apparently stated that he had the money he owed Richard, or this is where it kind of. Other reports said that he had the money to pay Richard. Mm-hmm. Other reports said that he was going to buy stolen stereo equipment. So according to the court report, according to court records, he was going to buy for $1,500 stereo equipment. But according to Richard,
he didn't pay him the money from previous.
Right.
So he wanted his money from his previous.
Or
you don't have nothing to buy from me because you ain't paid me my money from the last time.
Or he was going to buy new equipment and here's $1,500. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, other
but
reports.
He ain't settle up. He ain't settle up with the old debt.
Either that's according to Richard, but according to the other court documents, according to Tim, he was going to buy other stereo equipment. Maybe he was going to buy other one and pay what he owed and pay for the new equipment. I don't know. $1,500 is a lot for stolen stereo equipment. So maybe it was 2 sets.
Well, he extorted people in the beginning. So yeah, whatever.
Who knows? I don't know. Anyway.
Come on.
Amine was with a man named Haitham Zayed.
Ooh, these names.
I know. They called him Frank.
Okay, Frank.
So Frank is with Amine. Okay. Now, Frank was a friend of Amin's and really had nothing to do with Richard or his dealings. I think Richard had met Frank maybe once, but didn't really know him. He was a friend of Amine. And they were together that night. So during the phone call between Amine and Richard, they set up a time and a place to meet.
Okay.
So basically, according to Richard, Frank and Amine would meet up with Richard at an agreed meeting place.
Okay.
Now we're talking about middle of the night into the next day, the day after Thanksgiving. So Richard and Tim, they had a time to meet. I think it was about an hour after they talked.
Tim just a little old flunky because he been sticking with him the whole time.
Well, just wait.
And he know what's going down. He know this man is almost trying to kill this man. And he just in there.
So Richard and Tim went back to Colleen. They're driving all around looking, and they changed vehicles. Richard placed a 9mm Ruger into the new vehicle that they were going to meet.
That's a nice gun, though.
Well,
that's a nice one.
That's a 9.
Yeah.
And they would meet up. Placed, I believe, drugs and a video camera were also in the vehicle. I know a video camera was. But I want to say drugs were also. Additionally, go ahead.
So he placed the gun in the car and he finna video the murder.
Yeah.
Well, okay then. Go and incriminate yourself.
Oh, there's we'll get to it. Also during this time, he gets on the phone and sets up a drug deal with another guy to buy some X and some cocaine. I don't know. And drugs may have been in the vehicle.
Right.
That wasn't as clear. Regardless.
Okay.
It's not that important. Richard and Tim arrived at the meeting place ahead of the time they were supposed to meet and was waiting for Amine. Amine was running late. Around 2 a.m., again, the day after Thanksgiving, so this would have been that Friday. They were waiting. It was just outside of Fort Hood Airport Gate, which was near an electric company. Okay. It was a secluded, dark area. It was just fields surrounding, so it was very secluded,
perfect
dark.
Crime location.
Yeah. According to Tim, while they were waiting, Richard told Tim, quote, that he was not selling Amine anything, but was going to take the money, and if he did not give it to him, he was going to shoot him. So this is what he told Tim. Amine finally arrives.
See, that's what I'm saying. Then Amine, he utterly clueless too, because I was like, no, you're not going to meet me here. We ain't meeting here in no field.
Well, they have stolen.
But I guess if you in that criminal element, it wouldn't have mattered, right? Okay,
you're not thinking.
He's in a criminal element too, so his mind is not in the right place too.
Yeah, yeah. But
okay.
When Amine finally showed up, he finally pulled into the meeting area. Frank was driving. Zayed, remember? That's the friend. Just the random guy with him.
Lord, just caught up in crosshairs.
And he was the one driving. And Amine was in the passenger side. They pull in, and if you can kind of picture it, it was like driver's side to driver's side.
Yes.
That's how they pulled up.
Yeah.
And the drivers could speak. According to Richard, he made small talk with Frank, and Frank turned his head and said something. This is a quote from the book.
Okay.
He turned his head and said something stupid to Amine about killing Richard's family for $10. So Richard fired a shot. According to Richard, he was dead before his head fell forward. Amine begins screaming, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" By the time, and he was on the phone.
Gotcha.
And by the time, now according to Richard, by the time Amine could finish the third "what the fuck," a shot was fired at him, with the same 9mm.
Yeah.
Richard stated that the aim caught him through his left hand, and the bullet ricocheted through the cell phone into his head.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, Tim's account is different. Okay.
Well, let's hear what Tim got to say.
And Tim stated that once Amine arrived, that Richard demanded to see the money, and Frank refused. Now, here's exactly taken from Tim's statement of police. This is a quote from his police statement. Richard yells out, "Open the doors on the car." Then I opened the passenger door. Richard then said, "Look in his pockets and see if he has any money." This was after shooting him.
Okay.
Richard was on the driver's side looking in his pockets. Then he said, "Look in Amine's pockets." I then stick my hand down the pocket while he was still in the car, and his head fell over on my sleeve of the front of my arm. I said, "Man, let's go."
Yes. Okay.
He said, "No, I'm not leaving yet." Richard then came over to the passenger side, pulled Amine out on the ground. He flipped him over, and I said, "No, man, I ain't going to. Let's leave." This is what Tim said.
Yeah.
He
too
said,
late now for to be talking about leaving.
He said, "Do it and we can leave." I grabbed Amine's shirt and pants and flipped him over on his back. Richard then searched him. He told me to get the seatbelt off the guy in the driver's seat, Frank. I then went over there, and I was freaking out, and I cut the seatbelt off. Richard told me to watch and see if any cars were coming. He pulled the driver out of the vehicle. He said there wasn't any money in the vehicle. He said, "Get the video camera." So I got the video camera. He told me to record him. So I started to record him. Richard said something to Amine, and I'll tell you what he said here in a minute. I don't know what it was, but because... Go ahead.
So wait a minute. He shot him. He's not dead yet?
Correct.
Okay. So all this time they're checking his pocket. He's still alive?
Barely.
Okay. Go ahead.
Let me back up. That he didn't know
what he
said. Amine was not talking, but he was gurgling.
Right. Okay.
He had a hand... He was laying on his back. He had a hand raised up to the air. Up to the air. Then Richard...
To the sky.
And then Richard shot him in the head just once. That was it.
I'm
on video.
So I'm just seeing we already know what kind of background that Richard had, but for Tim to be doing all this at 19 years old, not freaked out, I would have ran off, left Richard and Sarah, been down about a damn pole, shit gone. Yeah. Richard, hell no, I didn't know this was gonna happen. Bye. But
then again, he had a gun, and Tim didn't. A bullet travel faster than you could run. But you better shoot me then.
You damn sure better.
To finish off his statement, then I get back in the truck. Richard,
I'd have left Richard ass there. Said, man, let me go to the car. I'd have left Richard ass there, drove off. He'd have been shooting at me. I'd have been like, 5 through the streets. I don't know.
Dodging and dodging.
Bob and weave.
Yeah. Richard he gets back in the vehicle. Richard grabs the bag from the car and puts it in the truck. We then left and headed toward Kim's house. Now, that was taken quote from the police statement Tim gave to the police.
Okay.
That I found in his appeal paperwork. According to Richard, once shot, Tim gets out of the vehicle and went over to their car, and Richard also gets out.
Mm-hmm.
Richard made sure Frank was dead and went to Amin's side, pulled him out of the vehicle. Amine was still moaning and lying on the concrete. He reached up and made a noise. He didn't talk. It was more of a gurgling, he describes.
Okay.
And he rested the 9mm on Amin's head and pulled the trigger while yelling, "Fuck Allah."
Oh. Well, this is second shot in the head, because when he shot him the first time, I thought he went through the phone.
Yes, it is. It is the second shot. So he wasn't dead after the first shot. They pull him out, and the kill shot.
But you said it went through his hand.
And it ricocheted off the phone and got in his head, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So he put 2 shots in his head then. The
first shot and then the second one killed him. Yeah. And then as he pulled the trigger after laying, he said, "Fuck Allah." According to Richard, Amine had a gun in the black bag of the vehicle, which in that bag, according to Richard, was a gun. And it's an SK-74. I'm not familiar. My son is a very huge gun expert, and he wasn't as sure about it. He knows it was a Chinese gun, and we believe it would have been a semi-auto gun. If that's what was in the vehicle, according to Tim,
right?
We don't know. So they left the scene. So that's both of their versions. They left the scene and drove to Kim's house. And according to Tim, Richard threatened to do the same thing to him if he told anyone.
I knew that was going to be his cover.
Of course.
Yeah. I knew he was going to say it. I knew it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
I was afraid.
Yeah. Now, Kim noticed the blood on Tim's shirt. Remember, he pulled one of the victims out to search their pockets. Of course, he's going to have blood on him.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So, Richard told Kim what happened and showed the video of the shooting to Kim. Richard also threatened Kim that if she told anybody, same thing was going to happen to her.
Right.
This was according to Kim's testimony during court.
Everybody trying to clear their name and stuff like that, so they don't have, hey, I was afraid and stuff like that. But yeah.
According to Kim's testimony, the videotape showed Tabler pulling Amine out of the car and shooting him while saying, "Who has the power now?" So now we got another version.
Right.
After showing Kim the videotape, Payne recounted. This is what Payne said. Richard told Tim to get rid of the black bag. Now, he kept the gun, but get rid of the black bag. Payne threw it in a dumpster at a store. according to Tim, the next day he destroyed the videotaped. They cleaned the vehicle, detailed it, cleaned it, and got rid of the clothes that they wore.
Okay. So all this searching that they did of Ami's car and Frank's car, they found no money.
Correct.
So Ami was lying in the first place then.
Well, that's what they're saying. Amin's not here to tell us.
Well, yeah, okay.
What the truth is.
Right.
This is just
say if he didn't have any money, so
and his friend was also who had nothing to do with anything.
Dead, yeah.
He was an absolute innocent victim.
Right.
Other than hanging around a friend.
The wrong person.
Yeah. It's important to mention that Richard is not done yet. We're not done yet. So next week we will continue from spree to sentence.
So when you say spree, you mean killing.
From spree to sentence.
Ooh. It was a hot,
Richard Tabler.
mess.
I promise you guys, it will be worth listening to next week's. Next week's is, well, you thought this was edge of your seat? Just wait.
Yes.
Richard ain't done. Richard ain't done.
Well, Richard said revenge. He won't take
But
revenge on everybody.
he got revenge.
Yeah. He's a revenge kind of taking person because remember he first came to Texas, he was looking for the guy that beat him up when he was a kid. So he ain't above taking revenge.
He had a list. He had a list, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, he's an angry young man.
Well,
this Richard.
Well, he didn't do nothing to his dad and mom.
Well, no, this is pure him now.
Yes,
I ain't blaming dad and mom.
Yes.
It's pure him now.
Well, I'm talking about revenge. He didn't beat his mom till you left me, you abandoned me. So it ain't too much revenge. Like you said, he doing it for himself.
Yeah. So, what you think so far? Are you ready to hear next week's?
I'm ready.
Good.
Because I'm like, evidently for him to be where he is now and what happened to him, must have been wow.
Yep.
Wow, off the chain. Off the chain.
That's why when I got to reading this, it just fascinated me. And we're not even done. I'm not even through, I think in the book, I'm not even through chapter 5, 6 yet.
Yes.
We got some more.
Oh, he should have kept this stuff in where I just can't stand people when they come from other states and they bring all that drama and mess to Texas.
Hey, we got enough drama and mess here.
Of our own. What?
I could say something, but we'd probably have to edit it out, and I would probably get arrested.
Well, we don't want you getting arrested, and me, no, we don't want to get arrested up here, kicking down the doors up here.
Listen, we got enough problems in this dumb state.
Yes, we don't need other people coming here from other places committing crimes here.
We got enough crimes being committed by. Never mind.
That part.
Yeah, you know.
Yes.
You read my mind. You know.
Yes, I'm looking at you. I'm reading. I see you cycling.
Anyway, Angela, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Next week we will go into part 3.
Okay. I'm glad
Spree
to be
to
here.
sentence.
Glad
Yes.
to be here.
My new co-host. Y'all get on our social media. Let us know what you think of Angela's.
Mm-hmm. You
Be
guys,
nice.
we have got to finish what Richard has started. We got to finish Richard. We got to because wow.
We will. Next week, we will go to part 3, and then the following week, part 4. I made this a 4-parter because there's so much.
Is it?
It's so much.
Wow.
It doesn't end with murder.
Are you serious?
It does not end with, there's more. That's all
Worse
I'm saying.
than murder?
There's more than murder.
Okay.
He's a busy young man.
Well, come on with it.
Yep.
Come on, bring it.
Anyway, so go follow us on all our social media, Silent Witness TX, and let us know what you think of our new host here. Be nice. Be good.
Yes, do be nice.
Because this is our 2nd episode, but I think you've done great.
Well, thank you. You guys enjoy and be safe out there in these mean streets.
That's right. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna fight some crime today at the sushi restaurant.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, follow us on our social media and tune in next week for part 3 and listen to last week's part 1. And I guess we're signing off.
Signing out, you guys. Like I said, be safe out there.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.